Lana. Her surely looks a little lacking. It's because we are missing a shitload of rolls on stuff right now. She needs a load of her gear changed. I wonder if that is going to be better. I have a feeling that it is.
Yes, this will do.
Is the iron or the steel better?
If we're going to talk, I could use a drink.
We could also shift the Master Fighter's ring onto Lana, I guess.
Adventuring is so fun.
I don't think we do that right now, though.
Shall we chat?
If we're going to talk, I could use a drink.
This is probably slightly worse. Very similar, though.
If we're going to talk, I could use a drink.
Hello. Shall we chat?
What are you looking to enhance?
I think that was it. So we need to extract. Saw the new Rot Hole and Fallen Watch dungeons. They want to work today. They're higher level now, right? They changed a lot of the dungeons to be higher level.
Reveal yourself.
Oh, whoops. Can't be dumping those. We need those. Keep that.
Reveal yourself.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, I look forward to seeing it when the game eventually goes live.
Reveal yourself.
Okay, we need to get to the shop. Item shop.
What do you need?
Sell.
What? This ought to
Bulk
do,
sell. 3-star up to 3-star white. No, 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 no. No cash conversion items. No. Ah. That was the problem.
Hmm.
Can't go into that dungeon because it's too high. Nice.
This ought to do ya.
Wait, we must have had more
This
stuff
oughta
than
do
that.
ya.
One equipped. Only one not equipped. Weird. Equipment without blessings? Yeah. Nope. How are there so few? What is tick? More equip. No matches found. Oh, include inventory, that's why. No? Huh. Oh, there we go.
Hmm. This ought to do ya. 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 Hmm. This ought to do ya.
Yeah, it's gonna be a blast, man. I'm really looking forward to it.
This oughta do
I hope
ya.
they can meet their schedule.
Hmm. This ought to do ya. Hmm.
This oughta do
This
ya.
oughta do ya. Hmm. This ought to do ya. Hmm. This ought to do ya. Hmm.
Oh my god, we have
This
so
oughta
many
do ya.
white items in our inventory. Holy moly.
Hmm. This ought to do ya. Hmm.
That was it. That was all of it.
This ought to do ya.
Okay, we're safe.
Hmm.
Let me go grab my thingies now that our inventory is empty. $11K to 400, yep. I'm very glad they've changed the thingy system. The unification system. We need a bunch of these gold pieces. We need so many of them. We have like none of them. You can really only get 5 of these at a time? It's going to take us so long to get so many of these. The gold pieces. But yeah, I guess we have no choice. Can you get more from trading other things, maybe? No. Yeah, it's gonna take so long to get enough of these to reroll. Get like 80 from the event shop. I think I already did. I think I already bought them out. They changed the trading? Nah, it's still the same. Yeah, we already bought the gold pieces. Listed in delivery support. Yeah, already cleared out the shop. When do you unlock steel equipment? Steel equipment is in Abyss 2. Right. Back to our hole.
What do you
Okay,
want?
next we have to
What's
enhance
the job?
4-star white storage, not equipped.
A fine job. 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 A fine job.
Who is that Prish that you're talking about,
A
Alexander?
fine job.
The real roadblock you're going to find with Prish is when you face high defense enemies.
Fine job.
Abyss 4 has a lot of them. That's where you're going to feel that she is the weakest, probably. Unless you are so super strong by then.
Job. A fine job. A fine job. A fine job.
Or in the weakest in your
A
team.
fine
Yeah.
job.
It's not very helpful.
A fine job.
It's fine. She'll have her day.
A fine job. A fine job. A fine job.
That is bounty reward. The grip gloves. Yeah.
A fine job. A fine job. A fine job.
They're good? No, not really. They just help you capture things. Capture live rate up.
A fine job.
So good if you're trying to capture things.
A fine job. 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 A fine job.
Take care, no luck. Thank you for dropping by. I hope your day at work is okay, and I hope you get to enjoy Monsters and Memories later if you are going to partake. You too, brother. Take care, man. Love you.
Job. A fine job. A fine job. A fine job. A fine job.
Extract. Green. Oh, no, wait. I've missed a step. Alter.
I'll show you my luster.
Green. 4-star. Oh. Not equipped. Zide is a stain on anyone's account. Zide is fucking sick. Zide's a fucking sicko. Guess we leave the action speed. We probably have quite a few of these. Hey, Somnio! What's up? Natural surety on that one. So many people here, you know. Yeah, there should be. The Wizardry community is quite small, right? Global one. It's lovely to have you here, though. The much loved Somniate. Surety. Yeah, the Mimic can be brutal. The Mimic can be absolutely brutal, don't worry about it. Action speed on those. Oh, that's already got surety. The number of times I've replaced surety with surety. Surety. Oh, surety. Chiaconan? Nah, how could you say such a thing? Chiaconan's an inspiration to us all. What a dastardly thing to say. I wonder why a lot of people hate Thief. It's so strange. It's such a good class. Well, if Thief is so good, guys, I guess Drucom's gonna have to nerf it in Abyss 5. Yeah, huge deserved nerf for Thief. It's out of control. Oh, that's already got surety. Let's go action speed percentage to relieve that. That's already got surety. Yeah, so mimics have increased damage. They basically, mimics have a huge amount of hit points, and so the only realistic way to beat them are openings, or that one at least, that specific one. So you're aiming to open it to death. It's there to teach you how important defending is. That's like the whole idea behind it. Again, you're still in the tutorial. It teaches you by you dying if you don't do it. And you keep coming back to it until you learn that you have to do what you need to do without it actually telling you what you need to do. You have quite a few of those. How many attack percentages do we have? Quite a lot. I think it's action speed percentage we probably need. I guess we got quite a few of those too. We don't have a lot of action speed stones, so I guess we use those first. How many how many regular action speed do we have? a decent amount at this point. I think it's this. I think it's action speed. Actually. Yeah, I guess it's action speed. Lost action speed. Action speed. Action speed. Action speed. Action speed. Action speed. We could have taken the attack percentage there, to be fair. I don't think that was really necessary. Speed. Action speed. Surety. Don't want to alter that. Action speed. Then we do maybe regular action speed. We can get rid of these at least. Surety. And then maybe like attack percentage. I don't know. I think we're pretty all right on attack percentage. Yeah, I guess attack percentage. I hate doing this one because I always think that I'm gonna click lesser alteration state. Thank God at least there's the buffer between lesser alteration state and full alteration state. That already has percentage on it. Fill them out what every time? Nah, that's not happening. Yeah, it probably will. Where's your sense of adventure, though? Sometimes it's the fear that keeps you going. The music playing right now, this is Dot Hack. It's one of the tracks from one of the original Dot Hack games. I could not tell you which one, but yeah, it's from the Dot Hack OST, probably the first game. think we should do action speed for the rest. Mainly just because I can't be bothered to scroll down. Okay, we need to unlock a lot of these. And then we will try our luck. Extracto! Green. 4-star. Let me double check these as I go through. Ah, it's fine. Spent enough time doing this already. It's one of the worst things in the game, to be honest. You recover from the ass blasting King Tony B gave to me. Time to head back in. Yeah, good luck. Poor Libra. Wow, we have over 100 of them. Here it goes.
Power within. Reveal yourself.
Ooh, that's not great. That is really bad. Okay. We did get 2 4 out of 6. 4 to 6 sureties though. Yeah, that is not great at all.
Power within. Reveal yourself.
Good try, guys. Good try. Right. That does not give us a lot to play with. Definitely hoping for a few more than that.
A fine
Oh,
job.
no, not that. Wrong thing. Oh,
I'll show you my luster.
Can we hit this 5? I don't think I want to use a 6 on this. I think that's too much. Can we hit this 5? I believe. Oh no. We already used so many stones on this. Come on! No! God damn it. Okay, well, we got a 6 on it now. So worth, I guess. There's no just in the world.
What's the job?
We got absolutely shafted on our surety things. It's
A
fine.
fine
Right.
job.
Big numbers. Big numbers only. Big numbers only, thank you.
A fine job.
Okay, 2 is fine. 2 is fine. Anything but a 1. Anything but a 1. Oh, okay. There's the money shot.
A fine job.
Oh,
A
oh.
fine job.
You love to see it. What dross we getting on our last slot here?
Fine.
Magic defense plus 14%. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's a great item. It's a great item. That is a lot better than my last chainmail, that's for sure. Yeah, that was the 4-star purple. It was somehow we've ended up still with no surety stones. We are just like completely fucking tapped. No, not double action speed. Yeah, totally relatable. I mean, yeah, it's really good. It's a really good item. I hope we have. Do we have any refinement stones for it? I don't know. Yeah, we've got some refinement stones. Oh man, how many of these am I gonna have to burn? Oh no. Don't do me like this. Don't do me like this. Okay. No, 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 we don't do that. Oh no. Okay, okay, we made it. We made it. Okay, nice. Yeah, we'll bust a big stone on this. That's fine. Yeah, I mean it's pretty good. It will do. It will absolutely do. I don't even know who I put that on. It's just so much surety. It's just so much surety. I think it probably goes on him for now. Because he's back row and he makes more better use of the it's just an absolutely obscene amount of surety. We already have a similar thing but much worse. Probably want to swap this to our front line because it's actually silver light armor. It's got very high defense on it. Maybe.
What is it, my lord?
Yeah, really happy with the chainmail. That was the real big piece that we got today. This is a bit less defense. It's obviously a lot more surety. It's like 16 extra surety. So you probably want to swap that to the front row and then keep this on him.
That's a nice piece of equipment.
I think this is going to be better than
Shall we chat?
the other piece is going to be better than
If
anything
we're
else on the
going
front
to
row.
talk, I could use a drink.
Want some help?
If we're going to talk, I could use a drink.
Hello.
Probably.
Shall we chat?
I mean, the choice between this and this. I think this is just worse than this. Yeah, that seems good.
Yes. This will do.
We have a load of enhancing and stuff that
Hello.
I need to do, but I
Shall we
don't
chat?
think I can be bothered to do that right now. We've been looking at this, we've been staring at this for so long.
What is it, my lord?
If we're going to talk, I could use a drink. If we're going to talk, I could use a drink.
What is it, my lord?
Someone have...
What is it,
I
my
can't
lord?
remember. think we have the
Hello.
heavy helmet to
Shall we
equip as
chat?
well. Steel heavy. I've lost the plot. I've just been staring at this for so long. My brain doesn't work anymore. We equip that to someone. I actually don't know. Was it this?
If we're going
Oh, it
to
must have been
talk,
this.
I could use a drink.
Think. Maybe? Don't. I don't actually know. No, it can't have been that. It can't have been that.
Want some help?
It was. I'm
What
pretty
is it,
sure
my
we
lord?
had a. Pretty sure we had a. Don't know anymore. Silver heavy? No. Steel heavy? Was it really this? 3-star steel heavy? Can't be right. That can't be right. Ain't no way. That's this. This is what we wanted. I think. No, wait, that's Heineke's. No, never mind. Lie. Aye. Thought we had a steel. I don't know anymore. My brain just sees numbers and extractions. It's over for me.
Hello. Shall we chat?
If we're going to talk, I could use a drink.
We need to
Oh,
alter
what
a
is
lot
it?
of Alice's gear.
What is it, my lord? What is it, my lord? What is it, my lord?
I must have imagined. I must have been thinking of another slot or something. I think I must have been thinking of glove.
Oh, what is it? Hello. Shall we chat?
This needs to be enhanced.
What do you want?
Surety. Yeah. Oh no 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 no. We're taking off the evasion. We're putting on surety, I guess. I think. Yeah, looks like it. We can't afford to use the bigger stones here now. We gotta just use. It's fine. We don't need to worry about it. Oh, nice. Nice. Wow, we've got a 5 to 7 attack stone here, apparently. Where did that come from? Hot stuff. Nice. Okay. That's a
Come back
really
in
big
one
upgrade from
piece.
her last axe. I
Hello.
think we have to.
Shall we?
What is it?
Yeah, we haven't done anything with these. These are actually so good. These boots are so good. So it feels a shame to use a lower stone on these, but like we're pretty tapped. It's obviously accuracy. I think we just do this. Can always change it later if we're super desperate. Oh, one banged it. It's fine.
Come back in one piece.
I don't know why we weren't using those boots before. I have no idea.
Hello.
It must have just like,
Shall we chat?
I don't know.
Bad
This
weather's
has to be
a-comin'. What is
altered.
it?
The magic needs to be altered to surety. Oh. Oh. Surety. To surety. Thank you. Surety. To surety. Thank you. Fuck's sake. That's criminal. That's criminal. This is robbery. I think I'm just gonna leave it there. It's not that great of an item. It's better than what we're using, but it's fine.
Hello. Shall we
That
chat?
was criminal. This needs to be altered as well.
What do you want?
Magic needs to be changed to surety. To surety. We allergic to hunting gloves? No, not at all. I just don't have any. Yeah, just get them. Duh. Duh. I have never, ever, ever had a 4-star purple hunting gloves. I never had a 4-star hunting gloves. Sorry, I've never had a purple 3-star or 4-star hunting gloves. Okay.
Come back in one piece.
Hello.
This is
Shall we
already
chat?
sorted. Okay, she's good.
If we're
Fine.
going
This
to
needs
talk,
Bad
altering.
weather's a-comin'. What is it?
The accuracy to surety. Surety. Thanks, support. Take care of yourself, my man. Love you, dude. God, 2 surety rolls, having to find a 4. Oh, we did it, we did it. Huge gains. That is a 2. I'd say it was a good effort, but it really wasn't. That is also a 2. That is also a 2. That is also a 2. That is a 4. Okay, we made it.
Come back in one piece.
If we're going to talk,
This
I could use
is
a drink.
fine. This is already done. It's fine. Fine. Okay. Fine.
What's up?
Ragnarok, I need to remake this. Unfortunately, I can't alter this until I remake it. This is fine. This is fine. Fine. This is disappointing, but fine. This needs to be
Oh,
changed.
Bad weather's a coming. What is it?
We are changing the defense to action speed. It's worth a 5 stone. How much action speed stuff do we have to do? Let me come back to the circular.
Come back in one piece.
Oh, what is it?
Goddamn ungrateful students, those jerks. Magic defense the worst stat here. What, on this? No. Magic defense is so much better for the back row than defenses, especially on a caster, because they have natural magic defense scaling, whereas they have like no defense scaling. So a percentage magic defense is going to be way more impactful than a percentage defense. Defense is really shit in the back row. It's the worst stat. Defense and evasion are terrible stats for the back row. Change a lot of her gear here. This is done. This is done. Changing this as well? No. Already done. Wait, is it? Yeah. Yeah, we don't have this, 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 and this. That is quite a lot of action speeds. Oh no, it isn't Rod. Are we using the res on this, or are we keeping the magic defense on this? What's her res at? 154. Wait, do we keep the magic defense? Yeah, I think we keep the magic defense there. Tell them to complain to this. I doubt that went down very well, Cabby, sort of. With the management.
What is it?
Okay, banged it. Excellent. I'll give it 1 Raz on this. Just 1 singular Raz. Oh, okay. We're in the money. We have to use a lot of action speeds. I don't know if we can really use +5s. I'd love to use +5s. We'll give them 1 +5 each and see where it goes. Okay, that's not where we were looking for it to go. Oh man. Nice little neat 10 on this. No? No.
Come back in one piece.
Oh,
This.
what is it?
What do you want?
It's already refined, right? Oh no, this isn't refined. It's actually really quite good. Ugh. Why'd you assault me so? So we are actually missing action speed on that item, but it's
Come back in one
perfectly
piece.
fine. Still good.
Oh, what is it?
And that just leaves this.
What is it?
This we need to alter the defense. Okay, good. Good enough. Good enough.
Come back in one piece.
Puts her at
Oh, what is it?
270 action speed, which is definitely a bit of a step up from before. Not that much. Like, she's gained some defensive stats as well. Who else? Rene.
What is it, my lord?
These need to be altered. Are we at the point where we are not getting surety? Because it has so much surety. Are we altering to attack? I wonder. I've been thinking about changing this to the other kunai we have. Better. A lot of attack on it, but it isn't in the offhand. We really don't need the amount of accuracy she has, though. Quite low rolls on it though. What about this? Maybe we should just. Why are we not using this? Way better. Oh, it's because it's a covert kunai. That's my covert kunai. That'll be why. That'll be why we're not using that. Yeah, I don't know. We haven't refined this. We lose a lot of surety, I guess. Yeah, maybe it's not worth it. Maybe not. Right, let's change
Bad
this.
weather's a coming. What is it?
Are we altering this to attack? Probably not. I don't like it. Just do surety. Kill the dragon? What? The fire dragon in the cave? Fuck no. Fuck no. I saw the dragon, I made it to the dragon, and that in itself felt like an accomplishment.
Come back in one piece.
What is it, my
Okay,
lord?
cool. Do we have stuff on here? I think we do, right? We already did this. Very happy with that chain EM. These need altering. These ever so heavies.
What is it?
Hey Tweshry! Yeah, I'm still here. Not for much longer. We're almost at the end. Stop and sure. Some of these surety rolls, man. Oh boy. Oh, nice. Nice. Won't even roll a 3. Just wants to roll the 4 so much. Oh my god. It has no variance. There we go. There we go. There's the money shot. That'll do. I don't think we care about the extra accuracy.
Come back in one piece.
Okay. We sorted everyone's gear, I think.
Hello. Shall we chat?
If we're going to talk, I could use a drink.
Want some help?
Except for the Ragnarok. Yeah, we can't do anything about that yet. We need to remake it again.
Oh, what is it?
What is it, my lord?
Cool. Well, that was wonderful. That was just
Come back in one
that was
piece.
the best thing. The best thing. It was the best thing. Why are you upgrading Ebon Steel? Because it's got stats on it. It's got good stats on it, Twishwee. And I don't have lots of good stats on all my stuff. I think we are done. I think we're spent. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I appreciate it. I'll be back tomorrow. We have Records of the 10, I think, on Granblue tomorrow. I don't know if that's in the evening or in the morning. My brain's too frazzled to check. I still need to remake my weapon on here, which I will be doing before the end of the collab. If we might have to grind some shit out, possibly, because I need lots of gold pieces. Gold pieces are a problem for me. Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate you. I hope you all have a wonderful night, and I love you very much. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Somnier. Thank you, Lucy's brother. Thank you, Siddisi. Thank you, Asahe. Thank you, Prog. Thank you, Tweshri. Thank you, Lucy's brother. Wait, I already said Lucy's brother. Fuck. Thank you, Capsor. Thank you, Cap. Thank you, Lucy's brother, twice. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Chicana. Thank you, One Somewhere. Thank you, dudes. Thank you, everyone else who's out there. My eyes are all blurry. I'm sorry. We'll be back soon. See you tomorrow. Take care, guys. Thank you, Jacare. Take care, everyone. I love you very much. Good luck.